great players are dedicated. Naturally, you've got to have the given talent. You got to have this raw talent. You got to have a potential of your ability out there. Now, usually the great players, they will work and come up with something new every year or every month or every 2 months. But they'll improve their game and they'll pay the price. And those guys love to play. They love to play. You add it all together, that's what makes greatness.
Deeper than the flash and excitement of the game itself, you find the never-ending attention to details that make champions instead of just good athletes.
KJ, good looking, baby. Yeah.
7 days a week, I've been working 7 days a week. I've been.
You know, come draft day, when the team picks their prospect, and the first thing they do is make that draft comparison to an already NBA vet. Kind of like when Terry Rozier was compared to Eric Bledsoe in the 2015 draft. Well, it's gonna be just like that in this video, except there's a catch to it. I'm going to be making 2 player comparisons to that one prospect. But before we begin, make sure you subscribe to the channel and like the video. Now, within the last few years, the NBA draft has been pretty memorable, especially when it comes to the growth factor in its players and how well they play within the system. Just last year, we had Zion Williamson and Ja Morant. 18 was Luka and Trey. In 2017, we had Tatum and D. Mitchell, all who have grown and are growing at a seemingly fast rate given the little time they've been in the league. And who's to say the 2020 draft will not come with the same momentum? With months of anticipation building up, it's still a question of who's going to be the first overall pick, which in my opinion gives me an idea of how deep this draft class is going to be. Now, in the player comparison, we're going to start with Lamell Ball. One of the main key factors to Lamell Ball's game that really makes him stand out in this draft class is his offensive skill set, as he has elite positional size for point guard, standing at 6'7". It's LaMelo's feel for the game and passing instinct that makes him such a special prospect in this draft. It starts in the open court, where he passes bigs with hierarchy with one-handed touch passes on the floor. Ball is electric when he pushes off the break, also showing his speed, trusty handle, and accuracy to find open shooters. Like most of the NBA's best passers, Ball is elite off the dribble, as he's able to deliver passes with either hand. And if I was to compare him to a player, just in that aspect of his game alone, I would compare him to Rajon Rondo. Rondo's super savvy, creative pass first distributor who pops up assists and pushes the ball relentlessly, and has been known to break down defenders, which we have seen Melo do countless times last season with the Hawks, as he manipulates the defense with his eyes, creating angles for himself with no-look passes and ball fakes, as the majority of his passes come from the no-look variety, which has been Rondo's one of many signatures from the floor general. LaMelo shows signs of a promising scorer. Despite his shooting woes from 3, LaMelo has a natural touch. Even though he'll need to become more of an efficient scorer from half court down the line, his ability to switch acceleration gears from slow to fast gives him considerable amount of upside as a scorer. Unlike his brother Lonzo, LaMelo often avoids contact when finishing at the rim and settles for more of a George Gervin-esque type floater, especially when there's traffic in the paint. His size and athleticism is very similar to Penny Hardaway. Penny Hardaway averaged over 20 points per game during his prime years in the league and was also an elite playmaker. And this comes as a ceiling comparison, depending on how well LaMelo grows and blossoms into the league. Next up, we have Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards is an offensive threat, as he has the handle and range to score from anywhere on the court. He has a rare combination of strength, athleticism, and fluidity that makes him tough to defend when he's in attack mode and getting in the paint. Edwards is more of a scorer than a shooter, and is capable of getting hot and scoring in a number of ways. He can shoot off the dribble and has the tools to become a 3-level scorer in the league. He has the handles and footwork to score over smaller defenders. Edwards also has a quick first step that allows him to get to the rim relentlessly, and his frame allows him to finish through contact as he stands 6'5". He's averaged almost 8 attempts from 3 in Georgia, showing that he's very confident in his scoring ability and is no stranger to being the go-to guy. Obviously, he will have to work on his 3-ball as he only averaged 29% last season with the Bulldogs, but with his confidence being that high, who's to say it won't improve down the line? His scoring in transition is top-notch, as he ranked in the 81st percentile this season in transitions per possession. His scoring attacks are fueled by perimeter shot creation and shot making. And if we was to make a ceiling comparison, I would say Dwayne Wade. Wade was extremely athletic and explosive. He had the unique tools of a great 2-guard, yet played so much bigger than his size thanks to his great reach and leaping ability. Wade was the pure definition of an offensive threat. He was a monster, whether it was his explosive finishers at the rim or whether it was his fadeaway or turnaround jumper from mid-range. Dwayne Wade was a monster on the offensive end, as well as being a stellar defender. Now, Edwards does show signs of being a good defender. However, he wasn't fully invested on the defensive end of the floor last season. But entering today's NBA, being such a guard-driven league, I think he'll slowly grow into a solid defender. And if I was to make an active player comparison, I would say Zach LaVine. Both love their 3-ball and pull-ups. Their shot selections are similar, especially when they're locked in. LaVine and Edwards share the ability to catch fire and drill jumpers in bunches. Another reason why I made this comparison is that when LaVine came into the NBA in 2014, he already proved how athletically gifted and explosive he was as a guard, but he wasn't a bucket getter compared to how he is now, as he worked year after year to gain confidence in his jumper. Now he averages 38% from 3 with 8 attempts from behind the line and 45% from the field while averaging 25 points per game this season. Next up, we have Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin stands 6'9" with an absurd 7'2" wingspan, and when he leaps in the air, it looks as though he's flying at times. Toby's mix of length, explosion, and timing make for a massive catch radius on alley-oops, and he'll provide elite vertical spacing. A point guard in high school all the way until he hit his growth spurt as a senior, Toppin has great ball handling ability, as well as passing vision you don't see from many front court players. His lengthy wingspan allows him to keep the ball low to the ground against smaller defenders who might be trying to poke the ball away. And he's got the dexterity to string together multiple dribble combinations. Showing great confidence in his handle, he's able to keep his head up at all times, reading differences and delivering pinpoint passes as soon as the proper read is there. The crazy length and dynamic jumping ability make Toppin an energetic weak side defender. He was a prolific shot blocker in college, and many of his swats came as a help defender sprinting over from the opposite side of the floor to vaporize layups. And with the new style of big men in today's game, where in this era is more emphasis put on the stretch big position, it will make Obi Toppin the perfect player in today's league. Last season with Dayton, he shot 39% from 3 with 2.6 attempts per game, which is very solid for a stretch position and shows promising signs translating into the league as a solid shooter. His 3-point shot gives his game an added dimension and opens his dribble drive game as well as opening the floor for his teammates. And if I was to make a ceiling comparison, I would go with Amari Stoudemire. Amari used to get his touches from a very equal blend of diverse situations, whether it was spot ups, fast breaks, cuts, post ups, isolations, and even pick and rolls. And in his prime, he was ranked as one of the most efficient offensive players in the game due to the number of open looks he gets at the rim. He'd run the floor well, trail plays, straight to the rim looking for putbacks, make extremely quick cuts to the rim, from high post, had no trouble finishing at the rim, and used his incredible athleticism to wave around defenders for easy lay-ins. The similarities between Toppin and Stoudemire are uncanny. They both have the same broad shoulders and destructive explosiveness when leaping around the basket. Like Stoudemire, Toppin has major scoring potential, powered by strength, athleticism, post skills, and developing shooting touch. On the flip side, he doesn't dominate the boards or add much value on defense, weaknesses that also held Stoudemire back. And if I was to compare him to an active player now, I would go with John Collins. They have the similar tools and athleticism. They're both strong and vertically explosive, as well as possessing the physical strength that drive their effectiveness on the offensive end. Collins has shot 67% at the rim, ranking in the 90th percentile among NBA players. They're both elite finishers who also use the offensive glass for scoring opportunities, and they each grade in the 87th percentile on post-ups. Collins provides structural integrity by anchoring the lineup on both ends of the floor. His defense still remains a step or two behind his offense, but Collins has made significant progress as a defender in his third season. And let's be honest, it's expected to have some bumps and bruises in order to further improve on that end of the floor, especially playing the four. And Toppin is definitely going to have that hurdle to face when entering. That slow but progressive build as a solid defender when entering the NBA. But that's all I have for today, guys. Comment down below your thoughts and opinions. And as always, I'll see you next video. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. I'm KJ the producer, and I'm out.